Being left out activates the same brain region as a broken bone. In 2003, psychologist Naomi Eisenberger ran a neuroimaging study at UCLA. Participants played a digital ball toss game and were suddenly cut out. Their brains lit up in the same region that fires during physical pain. That region is the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. It processes the distress signal of physical injury. When you're socially rejected, that same alarm fires. Your brain isn't being dramatic, it's being precise. This isn't a design flaw. For most of human history, expulsion from a group meant death, exposure, starvation, predation. Your nervous system learned to treat exclusion as an emergency. For a long time, it was. Here's where it gets harder. We don't live in small survival groups anymore. Yet that same ancient alarm fires when a text goes unanswered, when a party photo surfaces without you, when a colleague looks past you in a meeting. One of the most damaging myths in circulation: that emotional pain is softer, less legitimate, more controllable than physical pain. The neuroscience disagrees completely. A real limitation sits inside this research. Most studies on social pain have been conducted on weird populations: Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic. Behavioral science has historically over-relied on these groups, which limits how broadly any single finding applies. Cultural psychology, a field advanced significantly by Hazel Rose Marcus at Stanford, shows that people build their inner worlds through cultural and psychological interaction. How rejection lands is shaped by culture, not just neurology. Here's the question you didn't know to ask. If social pain and physical pain share the same neural circuitry, what happens when you take a painkiller? Researchers tested exactly that. In a 2010 study by C. Nathan DeWall, participants who took acetaminophen, plain Tylenol, for 3 weeks reported significantly less social pain in their daily lives than those who took a placebo. The overlap between pain systems is pharmacologically real. That finding reframes something. When someone tells you to brush off rejection, to stop being sensitive, they're asking your nervous system to override a signal calibrated over millennia. That's not weakness. That's biology. There's another layer beneath the neuroscience. Rejection doesn't only trigger pain, it attacks the self. Psychologists call this the threat to belonging, and it destabilizes something far deeper than mood. When you're excluded, your brain immediately begins scanning for the cause. Was it something you did? Something you are? That self-interrogation is automatic. The nervous system trying to solve the survival problem it just detected. Research shows that social rejection narrows cognition. People who've just been excluded score lower on logic tasks, show reduced empathy, and make riskier decisions. The pain doesn't stay in one compartment. It floods the whole system. Here's the counterintuitive twist. After rejection, most people don't withdraw permanently. They become hypervigilant to social cues, more attuned to faces, tone, and belonging signals. The brain shifts into reconnection mode almost immediately. That hypervigilance is adaptive. The same system that registers the wound also motivates the repair. Your brain doesn't just sound the alarm, it hands you a map back. Pain and the drive to reconnect are two sides of the same mechanism. But here's where it gets genuinely harder. Acute rejection, a single snub, triggers reconnection. Chronic rejection, sustained exclusion over time, does the opposite. It erodes the reconnection drive entirely. The alarm keeps firing until the system goes quiet. Psychologist Roy Baumeister called this social numbness. After prolonged exclusion, people disengage from social goals altogether. They stop seeking connection, not because they don't need it, but because the nervous system has stopped believing it's possible. This is why psychological knowledge functions as science, not opinion. Marcus co-founded Stanford Spark, the Social Psychological Answers to Real-World Questions Center, which applies these findings to redesign workplace onboarding and school belonging programs that measurably reduce dropout rates. Marcus, on Stanford's faculty since 1994, and recipient of the 2026 SAGE CASBS Award for Transformative Behavioral Science, argues that the self isn't fixed. It's built in relationship with others, which means it can also be rebuilt. Marcus's research found that people in interdependent cultures, Japan for instance, where group harmony is central, showed different patterns of self-criticism after rejection than those in independent cultures like the United States. The community's story about pain isn't background noise. It's part of the neurology. Consider another widely held myth that birth order reliably shapes personality. Firstborns driven, youngest children rebellious. Large-scale studies have found the effect negligible. We're just as prone to false certainty about social pain, assuming willpower alone can override it. You send a message to a group of friends. No one responds for hours. The conversation moves on without you. Your chest tightens. That tightening isn't anxiety disorder. It's the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex doing exactly what it was built to do. You're not oversensitive. You're not weak. You're running ancient survival software in a modern social environment. The mismatch between the tool and the context is the problem. Research by Kristen Neff at the University of Texas shows that self-compassion after rejection, treating yourself with the same care you'd offer a friend, measurably reduces the intensity and duration of social pain. UCLA psychologist Matthew Lieberman found that labeling an emotion, simply writing the words, "I feel rejected," reduces activity in the brain's pain processing regions. Language doesn't just describe the wound, it begins to close it. The most direct repair for social pain is social connection. Not distraction, not isolation. Genuine contact with someone who sees you. The nervous system that registers the wound is the same one that registers the repair. This reaches beyond the personal. Schools and workplaces that routinely exclude, through indifference or design, aren't just creating discomfort. They're activating pain systems in real human bodies with real neurological consequences. And because behavioral science has over-relied on weird populations, we likely still underestimate how social pain operates across cultures where collective identity outweighs individual identity. The full picture is still being drawn. The ache of exclusion is not a metaphor. The circuitry is shared. The injury is real. And rejection isn't a verdict on your worth. It's a signal from an ancient system doing its job. You can honor the signal without obeying it. The next time rejection lands in your chest, don't perform toughness. Write down exactly what you feel. Lieberman's research shows that single act starts closing the wound. Then reach out to one person who sees you. Your brain already knows the way back. Now, so do you.